And I think we do need to coach the setup meticulously. So this video is going to help us kind of go through and do it. So this is just kind of 2 out of 3 attempts during the little mock meet I did at the facility. You'll notice a few different things on my setup as we kind of roll through this one, and I'll talk you through it as we go. 1 or 2 breaths. So on this next rep, what I want you to watch is big breath here as I'm standing, down to the bar, and then little breath reset. Okay, it's hard to see that one because of my torso angle, but I am a 2 breath guy. Some people are a 1 breath down and get the bar. It really depends on how long you stay down at the bar. I usually tell people dip, grip, and rip. Don't spend too much time on the bar. So if I go down to the bar, it's grab it, 1 1,000, 2 1,000, up. Okay, so I've seen people that go down and spend 15, 20 seconds at the bar and really lose all semblance of the stretch shortening cycle. So it's big breath, down, breath, grab, go. Okay, so dip, grip, and rip is usually a good bet for a lot of people. I don't like the idea of being down in that bottom position for an extended period of time because you get inside your own head, and in many cases you can kind of wiggle around and lose track of that stretch shortening cycle you might have from the standing position. Also, make sure you're close enough to the bar. I think a lot of people make the mistake of setting up too far away, and as a result, they have to pull the bar back into their shins. And in many cases, when that happens, they'll wind up with bloody shins, or the bar will just get out so far ahead of them, that they've obviously created a ton more shear stress and put them in a position where the same absolute load actually feels heavier. Also, you're going to take the slack out of the bar, and this video is a great example of it because it's a deadlift bar, so it actually has a little bit more whip to it. So you'll watch as I first break the bar from the floor. It has a little bit of give to it. They're right there. Okay, you won't necessarily get that on a regular bar, especially if the weight isn't particularly heavy. So what you want to make sure of is that folks know how to take that slack out of the bar. So you got to pull it taut, as I do right there. Some people like the idea of kind of tensioning the triceps. I like the idea of using the bar to pull myself down to the bottom position. If I pull down and pop my chest up by taking that slack out of the bar, I know that when I go to initiate the pull, there isn't going to be that moment where there's a little bit of whip and then it catches on me and kind of surprises me. The other thing is, with this one, obviously, I'm trying to be very, very fast off the floor, and that's something we teach to our more advanced lifters as, we're trying to develop some explosive strengths. We want to apply force as quickly as we can. We don't do that in beginners, and one of the problems with being fast on the floor with beginners is they tend to extend their knees very, very quickly. So the hips will shoot back, and as a result of that, the bar gets too far out in front of them. So I think with coaching the setup, you need to make sure that you're coaching it relative to their training experience. Another thing that you'll see from this video is I do round over a little bit at my upper back. What you'll see with some heavy competition attempts is you'll see some thoracic flexion, and the goal is to really avoid that lumbar flexion, and certainly lumbar flexion to end range being the most problematic. You look at most of the best lifters in the world, they're all people that have big, thick thoracic erectors, and that's because those areas are obviously well conditioned to buttress that shear stress that's in place, and guys have just learned to move through the position where they're most well prepared to move. We don't want to move a lot through our lumbar spine, so when you see really well developed thoracic erectors, both Olympic lifters, power lifters, you name it, that's a pretty good sign that they're moving efficiently. What you got to be careful of is if you see those like big sausage erectors on each side of their lower back, that's a pretty bad habit to get into, and it's usually a sign that you're moving incorrectly. So just be cautious of if there is a little bit of flexion during a really heavy attempt in a higher level lifter that's doing it for strength sport purposes, that you're making sure that flexion comes from the right place.